era where culinary success is measured in years, Alla's legacy spans 4 decades, where she's transformed, with the help of her husband and her family members, this beautiful lakeside haven into one of the best regional dining destinations in Australia. Today, we're not only going to explore the extraordinary impact that Alla and her family have had on the culinary landscape, but also what her journey has been like as being a woman in hotels.
So Lake House in 2024 is celebrating its 40th anniversary. The property was bought in 1979 by my parents, Alla and Alla Wolf-Tasker, and they spent largely the next 4 years building what was to be the restaurant of their dreams, which opened in 1984. And since then, the property has developed in a very kind of slow, organic fashion. The vision was never to have a property that was a member of the Luxury Lodges of Australia. The vision was to have a destination restaurant. But what's happened in the last 40 years, and it's been a privilege to be a part of, is this growth and this slow evolution of the business. It's been an answer to the demands of our guests, long-term return guests who have been supporting us since day one, those that we have, fostered great relationships with along the way, and seeing, the trends in the tourism industry, not answering those trends, but being able to naturally evolve in terms of how people like to enjoy their time out, how people like to get away, how people like to reconnect, and what is needed in the moments when people choose to come and spend them with us. Because ultimately, it's a privilege to have those with those people. We make decisions that are largely emotional, and we hope that as a result, they connect with the people who are actually visiting with us. It's almost like sharing our country house with them.
When I think about, what I wanted many, many years ago, and I mean, the dream was so far removed from the reality of what we purchased. We purchased, just a paddock, apart from the wrong location and the wrong timing and not thinking why no one else did it at the time. We also had no money. Really what we had was blind ambition and energy, and a husband who told me that if I can draw it, I can build it. And when I said to him, I want a country restaurant, he said, why not? I think across both properties is a testament to why it's worthwhile dreaming. Well, it's a little bit about that whole being immersed in your region. So, what differentiates one region from another is surely one of the primary things is the food that you're able to produce locally. But in order to do that, you have to have a band of small producers around you. So if you can develop that, that's also good culturally for the future of agriculture, because instead of big ag, industrial agriculture, you get people who are caring for the land, they're regenerative farmers, they believe in what they're doing, they've got a similar passion about what they do as we have in the hospitality industry, so it's a win-win. It's fascinating how much the world has now jumped onto that idea and that notion, because in the middle of winter, I thought, we're going to run tours, no one's going to come over. They're going to sit in their rooms, they're going to watch movies, they'll order room service. They put their boots on, they put their raincoats on, they come out here and they listen to what Pedro tells them about what we're growing and what they're going to have on the table at night. They're really fully immersed in it. So for me, for someone who's been doing it for this long, it's a joy. It takes a lot of, again, passion, hard work, financial gulps. You've got to think these are the most expensive potatoes I've ever bought, and you can tell people with pride that the stuff they're eating, where it comes from, the bakery here, who milled the flour, who grew the wheat, the fact that there's no pesticide on any of the vegetables or fruit, and you can tell them all hand on your heart and know that it's true. It's really interesting because hospitality draws people who are passionate and a bit crazy. And so I think people will always have a go. All I had seen over in France was places that were just beautiful, wonderful, and I wanted to do them exactly the same. It was such a ridiculous notion. People drive into Lake House now and they think, oh, it's a resort, it's got a pool, it's got rooms, it's got a 2-hat restaurant, blah, blah. They don't realise we start as a little 45-seater, with one gum tree, no garden, no nothing, and a swamp at the bottom. Sort of thing of, growing your own food and all, it isn't a fad. People need to understand how critical it is, how critical it is that we learn to be self-sufficient, that we also encourage community food production. Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, I know during COVID when the supply chain stopped, we felt enormously, the shelves were empty in the supermarkets all of a sudden, So how good? So we kept producing vegetables and bread because we could do that takeaway. So the local community had bread and vegetables, and we made a lot of soup. Farmers stopped being a really critical, important part of our hierarchy, I mean, if you have a son and they're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, everyone goes, bravo. If they're going to be a farmer, they think, can't be very bright, And it's so important that the people who produce our food are firstly exposed to children, so children understand that this is someone really important in our community hierarchy. For someone who is living at home and, listening to this or reading this or whatever, if they want to grow some tomatoes in a tub, even that action is against the people who are now saying that agriculture is destroying the planet and we're all going to eat bugs, or we're going to eat meat that's made in Petri dishes. Not for me. Not for me, not while I'm alive.
One thing that I have absolutely noticed is she has an unwavering commitment to those core values. The values and philosophies that she started with in the 1970s and early 1980s when they were opening Lake House have remained consistent. And I think as a brand and as a business, that consistency, the visuals may change, the infrastructure changes, the team changes, you obviously evolve with the times, but that unwavering commitment to hospitality, to that level of knowledgeable professional service, to that integrity of produce and sense of place, has kept us very grounded in what we need to deliver and how we deliver it. So even as we find those solutions, even as we do evolve, it always needs to stay true to those original values. And I think that has built the foundations of a very strong business.